Welcome, everybody, and thank you for being here. My name is Tony Shine. I am the Administrator of Outreach here at the Department of Corrections. We have an inmate family liaison who takes phone calls from any inmate family or concerned individuals about inmates' situations and status and things maybe that they have questions and concerns about. And then we have a victim advocate, and the victim advocate takes calls from victims. In our situation, victims mean they could be directly affected from the crime that the inmate has committed, or a family member can be a victim. And some of the questions we get and how to assist victims with those concerns. We do utilize the VINE program, which is a state program that tracks anybody incarcerated. They track county jails, DOC individuals, and probation and parolees while they're being supervised. Notifications that come from VINE direct them to our Victim Services unit. If you pull up the DOC website, you'll see Victim Services as a tab at the top. If you click that, anything under there directs you to us. So we're going to start today. And like I said, this preface comes from with phone calls that we get where victims have a lot of questions. We're going to talk to Valerie Scott, who's a victim advocate. What are some of the more common questions and concerns you get from victims who call?
Will they or will they not have to register as a sex or violent offender? Will they be supervised? What are their requirements for supervision? How do I get my money? And I do get asked frequently, will my perpetrator be on an ankle monitor? Which then we would explain the difference between probation, parole, and the GPS program. Why didn't they serve their sentence, their full 20 years or whatever it is? Were they 85%? Then we go in to explain credits and levels, anything that can possibly reduce the time that an inmate would spend incarcerated based on policy and legislation. Where are they going to go? What have they done while they were incarcerated? Have they been in trouble? Have they been appropriate?
So what resources are available on the DOC website?
Well, the links to our units, to sex offender registration unit, probation and parole, and I don't think restitution though. VINE, yes, and VINE. And
some state resources too are on there.
Yes, absolutely. Like local. Victim Service, your Victim's Bill of Rights, the Apology Bank.
The resources are available, like safety plans at our shelters and our programs. So there is no time limit on that. So we do like to refer them to that. But there are some things, unfortunately, that are out of our control because it's already been said and done. But we do have a lot of, offer a lot of resources for the state. There are national resources too. There's hotlines. There's programs for rape victims and sexual assault victims, domestic violence. There are national programs a lot of times too. So we do have those other services that we can refer to, 988, if there's mental health involved, things like that. When a victim receives a VINE notification, what information can you share with them?
Well, it depends on first what the VINE notification was for. So if it was, say, a notification of discharge, I can share if they're going to be on probation or parole, supervision afterwards, and what county they're going to be assigned to. And then we'll explain they have a certain amount of time, 24 hours to check in. And if they do have to register, they have to register with their law enforcement agency. So like you said earlier, they've got to register with probation and parole and also with local law enforcement. That often continues the conversation into what if there's a violation? Well, then I tell them there's that anonymous spot on the Sex and Violent Offender Registry where you can submit information or you can just make a police report.
What about a transfer?
We do get asked a lot, why was so-and-so transferred? Why were they transferred from, say, Lexington to OSR? Why are they in a minimum unit? Why are they not in maximum? Because of their sentence, because of the crime, because of this and this. Well, then we go into explaining. Sometimes we can tell them why, but not all the time. It's not necessarily public information. It could be behavioral. It could be for a program. So we have to be very careful because even though they are an incarcerated individual, they do still have privacy to some of their information.
And many times we just assure them that they are not out.
Right.
Transfers are sometimes a confusing thing. When you get a notification, they believe that they are now out in the public. So we do assure them that they are still serving their time. It may just be at a different facility. What if they get an advance release notification and want to get a protective order? How can we assist them?
Well, if, say, a 30-day projected release date, then the victim or person interested in obtaining the protective order can file for it in their county of residence at their courthouse. They can go to the courthouse and pick up the petition, or they file it in the county where the abuse or the crime occurred. We can't actually help with victims filing a protective order, but we refer them to organizations that can, or the victim witness coordinator in the district attorney's office.
Any status change when that individual gets sent out through VINE, which could be out to court or out to medical. So we get calls about those individuals, what's going on. I want to also remind everybody that we do not give out medical information whatsoever. If it's a victim, we can let them know they are still supervised. There's very strict rules for hospital visits and doctor visits and things like that. But they also get notified when they come back. They get notified when they come back from court and come back from medical. And we want to encourage them. They can call and ask any questions. There may be some information that we cannot share because, like I said, medical is protected. Medical is protected from families even. So we cannot tell them if they're in the hospital and dying. Or
inmates are still HIPAA protected.
They are still very HIPAA protected. So inmates who are releasing too, it's a little bit of a tricky situation because if they are not 85% and their release date is on a Saturday or a Sunday, they actually will be released on a Friday. If they are 85% and it's a Saturday and Sunday, they will be released on a Monday. And that's because we cannot hold them any longer, but we cannot release them any earlier for those two types of situations. So that can affect their reporting time or some of those things too. So we don't release on weekends, and that's the reason for that too. But can you think of anything else that maybe we haven't covered?
I would say if you have a question, let us know. And if we don't know, we'll find the answer, like you said.
Please feel free to call and ask any questions because sometimes it's not something that's just common knowledge. Thank you, everybody. Great information. If anybody has any questions or things we didn't cover today, please go to the website and look for Victim Services, or any other programs we spoke of are searchable on that website.